policy on the standards of academic progress? Or do you even know what that means?
Anybody?
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 So we talked about the money. Where is this money coming from? Speak up. The government. So if the government is going to allow you to have their money, of course they're going to have some rules and regulations tied to it. Thing is, they're expecting you to go to class. Another thing is they're expecting you to keep your GPA at a certain standard. They're also going to expect for you to complete the classes that you sign up for. So if you register for courses and then drop the courses halfway through, that's going to hurt your completion rate. And that's something that we have to look at before we can release aid for the next following academic year. So for example, if Timmy registers for 12 credit hours fall semester, and then halfway through, he drops 9 credit hours. He's not completing 67% of the classes that he signed up for. So that's the primary goal. You have to complete at least 67% overall. So say Johnny was with us way back there in the 90s. He decided to come back to school. When he was here in the 90s, he made straight F's. And now he's ready to come back. And he's a good student, but we still have to look at what he did back in the 90s and get an overall picture of his completion rate. And he may not qualify. So just know things that you're doing now could affect you later down the road. Hopefully you're going to continue on and finish your degree within the next year, year and a half, 2 years at the most. But sometimes life happens and you're not able to finish. But you don't want to set yourself up for failure by just completely dropping out of classes or making straight F's, because when you are ready to return, you may not qualify for financial aid. Okay? So just be mindful, if you need to drop a class, check with financial aid first. Check with your instructor first, because they may be able to work with you. You may not be, your grade may not be as low as you think it is. So check with your instructor, check with us in financial aid, because we can calculate and say, hey, if you drop 2 classes this semester, you're not going to qualify next semester. Okay? So those are kind of the questions you need to check and see before you make a drastic decision to drop all of your classes, because it's not going to look good on your transcript. 1 class here and there, that's fine. We understand that. But 3 or 4 classes this semester, another 4 classes the next semester, you're pretty much bombed. Okay? Now, every day we have every semester we have a date as to when you can drop your classes and it not affect your GPA. That's all on the college calendar. For example, the date for this semester is November 1st. So if you're really unsure about a class and you don't think you're going to pass it, talk to your instructor and kind of see. Your instructor may say, yeah, you got an F, and there's no way you're going to be able, you got to make an A on the final in order to get that up. And you already know that ain't going to happen. Okay, come talk to us and let us see if you drop this class, if you're going to be safe for the next semester. Okay, so don't make a drastic decision without talking to your instructor first and then talking to us. And I'll encourage you to, you know ahead of time if you're not doing well in the class. You know when you need the extra help. That's what the Success Center is here for. Because they can get you that tutoring and that assistance that you need so that you don't have to have that conversation with your instructors. You don't have to have that conversation with us. But we're here if you need us. Now say, for example, we talked about Johnny, who was here in the 90s and he didn't do well and now he wants to come back to school. Well, we do have something in place called an appeal process. And basically that means that your GPA is too low to get financial aid, your completion rate is too low to get financial aid, or maybe you've been here for a while and you have too many credit hours to get financial aid. And that's a possibility, especially for our health science students. They come in, they take classes, and they have all these credit hours because they're trying to get into the nursing program, and then you exhaust your eligibility for a 2-year school. Because there's a limit between a 2-year school and a 4-year school. There's a limit to how many credit hours you can have and still get financial aid. So once you hit that limit, we have to cut you off. But say you still need 2 more classes to get that degree. Okay, well maybe you can go through the appeal process through the financial aid office and try to get your aid just for those 2 classes. And you guys are lucky because some schools don't offer an appeal process. That's a school decision, not a government decision. We chose to give our students that extra incentive to help them if they run into that issue. But the key thing is you're going to have to have legitimate circumstances. if your GPA dropped below standards, you can't just come in there and say, oh, my GPA dropped because I didn't want to go to my APOC class. I'm sorry, that's not a reason why your GPA should drop. Now, if you come in there and say, my GPA fell below because I had a car accident and I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. Okay, let us see your documentation and we'll take this to the committee to see if we can get you approved. So legitimate circumstances, those are the type of things that can get you a possible approval. Can't guarantee it because we in the financial aid, we don't make the decision. There's an actual committee that reviews your documentation. And they'll let you know if it's been approved or denied. But just know if you fall into that situation, there is an alternative to try to get your aid back. Okay, Heartland. So those of you that do receive financial aid, how do you receive your money? Do you get a paper check? Do you get a direct deposit? Or how do you guys get your money?
I get direct deposit.
Paper check, direct deposit, paper check. Okay, you have an option. We have our third-party companies called Heartland, and every student received an email. How many of you check your email on a daily basis? That should be everybody. That is how we communicate with you for anything relating to school activities, school closures, anything. It goes through your school email account. Well, Heartland sent you an email asking you, how would you like to receive your financial aid money? Now, the paper check, it can take 5 to 10 business days after we release it before you receive it in the mail. Direct deposit, you can get it in about 1 to 2 business days. But just know that we don't actually cut the checks here and say, come get in line, we're gonna hand them out. It doesn't work that way. We have to send it to a bank, the bank disperses it accordingly. But we want to make sure you get your funds in a timely manner. That's why we encourage direct deposit. So if you don't know how to get into that email account to set that option up, we can help you with that as well. Okay? Let me make sure I see. Do you guys have any questions about the whole process of how financial aid works? Yes, ma'am.
So I'm deciding I'm thinking about taking a class next semester, the summer class. So can I take like one class on a monthly day? And does it have to be?
What type of financial aid do you have?
I have Pell.
There's a very huge misconception that I get Pell Grant, that means I gotta be a full-time student. Full-time is 12 hours. That is not the case. You can take one class and still get Pell Grant, you just won't receive the full amount. It'll just be prorated. And then you're not gonna lose the money, we'll just kind of set it aside in case you wanna use it for summer semester. And what's not used summer semester, it does go back to the government. Okay? But no, you do not have to be a full-time student unless, you're on some type of appeal that says, yes, you have to be a full-time student, or yes, you have to make CSER better in your classes, but that's normally not traditional. But yes, you can take one class on the Now with student loans, back to your question, you do have to register for at least 6 credit hours in the student. You have to maintain at least 6 credit hours.
Melissa, can you explain the appeals process?
So basically, if you run into an issue where your GPA is too low, your completion rate is too low, there's a form on our website under financial aid online forms. You can print it off, and it's going to ask you there's going to be 2 questions you have to answer, and you'll also have to attach documentation to prove your reasoning. The documentation is key. You have to be able to prove it. You submit it to the financial aid office, and we'll in turn turn it over to the committee. The committee only meets once a month, so if you want them to review it the following month, it has to be turned in, for example, by tomorrow, October 31st, because they'll pick up on the first day of the month. Okay? The committee will review. They'll let you know by mail if you was approved or denied. A lot of times they put strict stipulations on your approval where you cannot drop any classes. You have to make CSER better, because this is your second chance. So we're not going to give you a second chance just so you can go in there and start withdrawing from more classes. Okay? So let's make CSER better. You would need to cannot withdraw. And sometimes they will put some stipulations on how many credit hours you can take. Because a lot of times the issue is you're taking too many classes and you can't handle it. I actually spoke with Dr. North this morning, and we're going to start incorporating the Success Center into the whole appeal process. so that we can make sure we're getting you the tutoring that you need. We make sure that you're speaking to your advisor to know what you need to be taking and how many credit hours you need to take. Okay, so that's pretty much the appeal process. If you are getting an appeal because you're over hours, we're going to say, well, you can only take the 2 classes to finish your degree. You can't just take 2 random courses. But just be mindful, there is a lifetime eligibility limit. And there's a limit to how many semesters you can get financial aid, and that's not something we can override. That's a federal guideline. So if you're a professional student, and we have some of those, that kind of school hop, they go from one school to another school just to get financial aid. There's a system we have to check, and we can see that. And there's a limit to how many semesters you can get financial aid that the appeal cannot override. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. We'll let you know when you're getting kind of close. But normally our students don't run into that issue. It's more so students that's at a 4-year institution that have that problem. Another thing I want to mention to you guys is when you're registering for your courses, make sure you're following your degree plan. Everyone know how to get to their degree plan in their MySUSTC account. Okay. Only take classes that's required for your degree. Because what's going to happen is if you register for classes, say you're in child development, you can't just register for a welding class and think your financial aid is going to pay for it. You have to take classes within your program state. So always check your schedule and make sure you don't see ODP out beside it, because that means out of degree plan. And if ODP pops up, that means your Pell Grant isn't activated for the correct amount. Okay, so definitely keep that in mind. And always check your MySUSTC account, because that's how you get updates on your financial aid. If you need anything, if your aid has been awarded, you can check all of that in your MySUSTC account.
Can you give a scenario of a student who has lost their financial aid due to their grade point average dropping and their progression, and how long it would take for them to get back financial aid?
Okay, so say for example, let's do, it's kind of hard to do GPA because we don't calculate GPA in our office. That normally is kind of calculated through the records or your advisor. But say if you have a 0.5 GPA and you have to have at least a 2.0 GPA to get financial aid, then your advisor can kind of give you an idea of how many classes you need to take and what letter grade you're going to have to make in order to get yourself back eligible. Now what we can calculate is, say for example, your completion rate is below standards. And when I say completion rate, we look at the total number of hours you've registered for, and we compare it to the total number of hours you complete with a passing grade. Withdrawals isn't considered passing, L's are not considered passing, D's are not considered passing. But we look at the completed hours opposed to the registered hours. If you register for 15 credit hours, we're going to expect you to at least complete 12 of those credit hours, preferably 15. But if you register for 15 hours and you only completed 3, then you're going to run into some issues down the road to where you're not going to qualify because you're not completing at least 67% of your hours. Okay? So, I mean, ideally, we want you to register and sign up for classes that you are confident that you can complete. We know life happens and things happen to where you can't, but that's also where you need to kind of limit your course load. If you know you're working full-time, you know you got kids at home, maybe you can't be a full-time student this semester. Maybe you just need to take 2 classes or you need to take 3 classes. Don't push yourself to where you put yourself in a hole to where you mess up your financial aid on your own. It has nothing to do with anybody else. It was just decisions that you made that you probably could have avoided if you would have thought a little bit more in the beginning of the semester. Okay, so just keep those type of things in mind. Anyone else have any questions, any issues that you run into with financial aid that we can kind of talk through?